she never meant for him to see it. Anna was exhausted after another long day at the company where she worked as a junior assistant. Everyone was walking on eggshells because of one man, her boss, the intimidating and notoriously cold CEO, Alexander Black. He was powerful, sharp, and rich beyond imagination, but his temper and arrogance were feared by everyone in the building. Employees whispered about him in the break room but never dared say a word in front of him. But that night, in a moment of frustration, Anna typed out everything she felt in an email draft she intended to delete later. She called him heartless, accused him of not caring for his employees, and even wrote that maybe money had bought him everything except a soul. The words flowed out of her like fire, and when she finished, she sighed, meaning only to reread them and then erase. But her tired hand slipped, her finger hit send instead of delete. Her heart froze instantly. Within seconds, the email was gone, straight to the inbox of the one man she feared most. Her blood turned cold. She could hardly breathe as she realized there was no way to undo it. That single mistake could cost her not just her job, but her future. She spent the entire night imagining the storm that would come the next morning, the humiliation, the dismissal, the possible lawsuit. By dawn, she hadn't slept a minute. When she entered the office, the atmosphere was different. People seemed more tense than usual, and the assistants whispered as they glanced at her nervously. Her email had already circulated through the inner office grapevine, thanks to IT staff who noticed unusual activity. Everyone knew she had insulted Alexander Black to his face, in writing. The phone on her desk rang. It was his secretary. "Mr. Black wants to see you. Now." Anna's knees weakened. She stood, smoothed her dress, and tried to steady her trembling hands. As she entered the top-floor office, the air was colder, quieter. Alexander Black was sitting behind his massive glass desk, staring at his laptop screen. His face was unreadable. He didn't look angry, but his silence was more terrifying than rage. Finally, he spoke, his voice calm but sharp like steel. "You think I'm heartless, that I don't care for my people." He lifted his gaze, piercing her with eyes that seemed to see through her soul. "Do you always write emails this honest?" Anna's mouth went dry. She opened it, but no words came. She wanted to apologize, to beg for forgiveness, but something in his tone held her back. Instead, she whispered, "I didn't mean to send it," but every word was true. For a long moment, silence filled the room. Then, unexpectedly, he leaned back in his chair and laughed. It wasn't a cruel laugh, but one of disbelief, almost relief. "Do you realize," he said slowly, "you're the first person in this building who has dared to tell me the truth?" Anna blinked, stunned. Was this a trap? Was he mocking her? But then his expression softened, if only slightly. He stood and walked toward the window, his hands in his pockets. "I've built this empire from nothing. I had no time for kindness, no patience for weakness. People either feared me or tried to use me. And yet, you call me out without hesitation." He turned to her, his voice quieter now. "Why?" Anna found her courage. "Because people here are afraid to breathe around you. They respect you, yes, but they also suffer. A good leader inspires, Mr. Black. He doesn't crush everyone beneath him." Her words seemed to strike something inside him. He stared at her, long and hard, as if reassessing her completely. Then he said, almost to himself, "Maybe I needed to hear that." Over the next days, instead of firing her, Alexander kept summoning her. At first, it was under the guise of discussing her bold email, but slowly it became clear he wanted more. He asked for her honest opinions in meetings, even when they clashed with his own. He began noticing the way employees reacted with less fear when Anna was around. Her courage gave others confidence too. The staff whispered again, but this time about how the terrifying CEO seemed different. Softer in tone, less impulsive. No one could understand why, but Anna knew. Her mistake had cracked his armor. One evening, as Anna stayed late working, Alexander entered her office unexpectedly. He leaned against the doorframe, watching her. "You haven't asked why I kept you," he said. She looked up, startled. "I assumed you enjoyed having someone around who isn't afraid of you." He smirked. "That too. But it's more than that. You've shown me something I forgot. That leadership isn't about fear. It's about trust. And somehow, you've made me want to be better." The words unsettled her in ways she didn't want to admit. He was her boss, untouchable, impossibly wealthy, and she was just an ordinary assistant. Yet in his eyes, for the first time, she saw vulnerability. Their dynamic shifted. He began inviting her to private dinners to discuss projects. Conversations stretched beyond work, into his past, his struggles, the loneliness behind his wealth. Anna saw the man beneath the CEO mask, and against her will, her heart began to soften. One night, after a particularly long meeting, Alexander walked her to the elevator. Before the doors closed, he leaned closer and whispered, "That email, you think it ruined you. But it saved me." Her chest tightened. The doors slid shut, leaving her breathless. What began as a mistake had become the spark of something neither of them expected. The powerful CEO who once terrified the world had been changed by the courage of one woman who dared to hit send. And though neither admitted it aloud yet, they both knew, the story was only just beginning.